Today, we're going to dive into this really cool artistic technique. It's all about how great art can jolt us out of our daily haze and, force us to see the world like it's the very first time.
I mean, you know that feeling, right? When you're just on autopilot, you drive to work and suddenly you're there, but you have no memory of the actual journey. Or you eat a whole meal and you can't even remember tasting it. Life just gets so automatic, so routine, that we stop really experiencing what's around us. We kind of recognize things, sure, but we don't see them anymore.
Believe it or not, the poet Shelley was talking about this exact same problem 200 years ago. He had this beautiful way of putting it. He said that habit covers the world with a veil of familiarity. We know a tree is a tree, a stone is a stone, but we've totally lost the sensation of it. And for him, art had one very specific job: to rip that veil away.
Okay, so how does art actually do that? Well, in the early 20th century, a group of literary critics, they were called the Russian formalists, they gave this whole technique a name. They came up with this really powerful theory for how art works its magic on our brains.
The term they came up with is ostranenie. It's a Russian word, and it translates roughly to making strange, or what we more commonly call defamiliarization. And look, this isn't just about being weird for the sake of being weird. No, it's a super deliberate strategy to just break our automatic way of seeing things and force us to look a whole lot closer.
And this right here, this quote from the critic Viktor Shklovsky, this really gets to the heart of it all. He said the point of art is to make the stone stony. Just think about that for a second. The goal isn't just to show you a stone that you recognize. It's to make you feel its weight, its rough texture, its coldness. It's to make you experience its stoniness, like for the very first time.
So here's how this whole thing works. It's basically a three-step process. First, the artist takes something totally ordinary and just twists it. They make it strange. That forces us to slow down, right? It totally disrupts our brain's autopilot. And in that little pause, that's when we're finally able to truly see what's right in front of us, moving way beyond just simple recognition. So let's look at how this plays out in a few really cool examples.
All right, first up, we're heading to the theater. We're going to look at Carol Churchill's absolutely groundbreaking 1982 play, Top Girls.
So the play kicks off with a scene that's super familiar to all of us. There's this woman, Marlene. She's a successful executive in 1980s London, and she's throwing a dinner party to celebrate a huge promotion. You've got the restaurant, the drinks, the conversation. Everything feels totally normal. But then we meet her guests. And this is where it gets really strange. Churchill literally puts women from all throughout history, art, and legend all at the same table. And they're talking about timeless stuff, motherhood, careers, religion, loss. By dropping these extraordinary women into this totally ordinary setting, she completely defamiliarizes the idea of a dinner party. And it forces the audience to see the struggles of a modern woman not as an isolated thing, but as part of this long, complex, and totally shared history.
Okay, so making things strange isn't always about creating surreal situations like a time-traveling dinner party. Sometimes it's about a sharp, jarring clash of tones. And a perfect example of this is Martin McDonagh's play, The Beauty Queen of Leenane.
So on the surface, this play looks like one of those cozy Irish kitchen dramas. The dialogue is hilarious. The characters are trading these witty, almost sitcom-style insults. But underneath that really funny facade is a deeply, deeply disturbing story of psychological abuse and cruelty. McDonagh actually gets the audience to laugh at things that are genuinely horrible.
And that's the whole point, right? Why are we laughing? That uncomfortable laughter, that is defamiliarization at work. It makes us stop and question our own response. By wrapping this profound cruelty in a blanket of comedy, McDonagh forces us to confront a really uncomfortable truth, that abuse can hide in plain sight, even in the most boring, everyday domestic settings.
So for our final examples, we're going to look at plays that take this whole idea a step further. They actually break the very structure of theater to make the world of the play itself seem strange.
First, we've got Susan Laurie Parks's play, Venus. Now, this is based on the horrific true story of Saartjie Baartman, a South African woman who was horribly exploited and put on display in 19th century Europe. You think, okay, this is going to be a straightforward, sad historical tragedy, but Parks does something completely different.
She deliberately avoids realism. She mixes these heartbreaking moments with totally absurd comedy. There's a Greek chorus that interrupts the action. She even includes a play within a play. All these non-realistic tricks, they stop us from just passively watching another sad historical story. By making the form itself strange, she forces us to actively think about and confront the actual mechanisms of exploitation.
And then for our last example, we have Simon Stevens' play Pornography. This play presents this kaleidoscopic, fragmented look at London during one really intense week. A week of extreme highs and lows, from the city winning the 2012 Olympic bid to the absolute horror of the 7/7 bombings.
Now get this. The play comes with a single, radical instruction from the author. He says the scenes can be performed in any order. I mean, just think about that. By doing this, Stevens completely shatters the traditional narrative. There's no single timeline. This is structural defamiliarization at its most extreme, and it forces the audience to be the ones to piece together the meaning. It becomes this powerful metaphor for a society trying to make sense of its own shattered pieces.
So, okay, we've seen historical figures at a dinner party, we've seen comedy mixed with torture, and we've seen plays that literally break their own rules. So, what's the point of all this strangeness? Why does it matter?
I mean, why can't art just show us the world as it is? Why does it need all these weird, strange techniques to get its message across?
Well, it's because the world as it is often totally invisible to us, right? It's hidden behind that veil of familiarity we talked about. Making things strange, defamiliarization, it shatters our daily autopilot. It uses that strangeness to expose hidden social truths, like we saw in Top Girls. It makes us feel the real horror hiding under the comedy, like in The Beauty Queen of Leanne. And it forces us to be active participants in creating meaning, like in Pornography.
Ultimately, it all comes back to Shlupkovsky's core idea. By making things a little difficult, by making us slow down and actually work to understand what we're seeing, art gives us this incredible gift of true perception. It kicks us off that easy, well-worn path of just recognizing things and pushes us onto the more challenging, but way more rewarding, trail of genuine experience.
And hey, this isn't just some dusty old literary theory. It's a technique used by tons of artists. The famous playwright Bertolt Brecht, for example, had a very similar idea with his alienation effect. He was constantly reminding the audience, hey, you're watching a play, this isn't real. The goal was exactly the same: break the illusion and make us think critically about what we're seeing.
So, here's the cool paradox of it all. By making the world look strange and unfamiliar, art actually helps us see it more clearly than ever before. It's like it shakes us awake, recharges our senses, and brings back a sense of wonder and intensity to a world that can feel pretty dull and routine.
It's such a powerful tool, and not just in art, but in life too. So I'll leave you with this to think about. What have you experienced recently? A book, a film, a song, maybe just a random everyday moment that broke through your autopilot and made the stone feel truly stony again for you. Thanks for tuning in.